What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com.
Here are my DFS picks for NFL Week 14, Monday Night Football.
These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button
And hit that bell icon
so you don't miss our new videos.
Okay guys, in this video, I'm going to give you my top DFS picks for this Monday Night Football showdown between the Arizona Cardinals and the New England Patriots. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, let's take a look at this NFL showdown between the New England Patriots and the Arizona Cardinals. So at the quarterback position, I like Kyler Murray from the Arizona Cardinals playing the New England Patriots, who have a good defense overall, and they're middle of the pack defending opposing quarterbacks. Kyler Murray has averaged 21.8 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 6.6 rush attempts per game. He's going to be about 60% owned, projected at 19.5 fantasy points here tonight, and he's 11,200 DraftKings salary. Vegas thinks there's going to be 43.5 points scored in this game, with the Cardinals trailing by 1.5. So Kyler Murray has scored 26 fantasy points in his last game. He got 7 rush attempts in that game, so he was out with injury for a little bit, came back last week, put up 26 fantasy points with 7 rush attempts. So he's healthy, he's good to go. And I think he's definitely got way more upside here tonight than does Mac Jones. So I like Kyler Murray here versus the New England Patriots. Okay, let's take a look at the running back position. I like James Conner from the Arizona Cardinals playing the New England Patriots, who have a good defense overall. They've been good versus opposing running backs. James Conner has averaged 13.7 fantasy points per game on the season. He's getting an average of 13.4 rush attempts per game and 3.9 pass targets per game. He's going to be about 43% owned, on the field for 65% of the snaps, projected at 14.5 fantasy points here tonight. He's 10,000 DraftKings salary, and James Conner has scored 25, 13, and 24 fantasy points in the last 3 games. He got 25, 14, and 21 rush attempts in the last 3 games. And he also got 3, 5, and 3 pass targets. So I like James Conner here versus the New England Patriots. But now, because he's much lower in salary and has a better matchup, I also like Ramondre Stevenson from the New England Patriots playing the Arizona Cardinals, who have the second worst defense overall. They're middle of the pack defending opposing running backs. Ramondre Stevenson has averaged 16.7 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 13.4 rush attempts per game and 5.6 pass targets per game. He's been on the field for 71% of the snaps, going to be about 86% owned, projected at 18.5 fantasy points here tonight, and he's only 8,800 DraftKings salary. Ramondre Stevenson has scored 14, 20, and 14 fantasy points in the last 3 games.
Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching.
If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal,
all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won.
And we'll send you $25 PayPal.
So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you.
Off of 10, 7, and 15 rush attempts, on top of 8, 10, and 6 pass targets. So I like that he got 18 pass targets in the last 2 weeks. He does have the better matchup and significantly less salary than James Conner. So I think he could be good captain material here. So I like Ramondre Stevenson here versus the Arizona Cardinals. Okay, let's take a look at the wide receiver position. I like DeAndre Hopkins from the Arizona Cardinals playing the New England Patriots, who have a good defense overall. They've been good versus opposing wide receivers, but DeAndre Hopkins has averaged 21.7 fantasy points per game on the season. He's getting an average of 10.7 pass targets per game. Been on the field for 100% of the snaps, going to be about 41% owned, projected at 17 fantasy points here tonight. He's 11,600 DraftKings salary. DeAndre Hopkins has scored 19, 18, and 20 fantasy points in the last 3 games off of 6, 12, and 14 pass targets. So I like DeAndre Hopkins here versus the New England Patriots. I also like Marquise Brown from the Arizona Cardinals, and Marquise Brown has averaged 17.6 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 10.3 pass targets per game. He's also been on the field for 100% of the snaps, going to be about 46% owned, projected at 12.4 fantasy points here tonight. He's only 7,600 DraftKings salary, and Marquise Brown has scored 11, 12, and 22 fantasy points in the last 3 games off of 8, 9, and 10 pass targets. So I like Marquise Brown here versus the New England Patriots. Okay, for the Patriots, so Jacoby Myers is out, which is going to bump up the usage rate of these other wide receivers, and they're all pretty low salary here. So looks like I'm going to be playing a guy like DeAndre Hopkins and Marquise Brown, and then Ramondre Stevenson, and then I'm going to sprinkle in one of these Patriots wide receivers. So the first one you can take a look at is DeVante Parker from the New England Patriots. The Arizona Cardinals have the second worst defense overall. They're middle of the pack defending opposing wide receivers. DeVante Parker has averaged 6.9 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 3.5 pass targets per game. He's been on the field for 71% of the snaps, going to be about 30% owned, projected at 8.7 fantasy points here tonight. He's 5,800 DraftKings salary, and DeVante Parker has scored 4, 12, and 4 fantasy points in the last 3 games off of 4, 4, and 2 pass targets. So I like DeVante Parker here versus the Arizona Cardinals. You could also play Kendrick Bourne from the New England Patriots. He's averaging 3.9 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 2.4 pass targets per game. He's going to be about 22% owned, projected at 6.7 fantasy points here tonight. He's 5,400 DraftKings salary, and Kendrick Bourne has scored 3, 6, and 2 fantasy points in the last 3 games off of 2, 4, and 1 pass target. Also has 1 rush attempt in there in the last 3 games as well, and he should get an extra couple of targets here tonight. So I like Kendrick Bourne here versus the Arizona Cardinals.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all the tools for NFL. NBA is right around the corner. This is a great time to get in and try everything for 1 month. The tools are all about saving research time. You can see the last 3 games, the fantasy points per game, the targets they got per game, so you can see how involved they are in the offense, the rushes they got per game. Seeing all this stuff on one screen helps you save time and make better picks. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Now, probably the guy I'm looking at for the New England wide receivers, the guy I want to play most is Nelson Aguilar from the New England Patriots. And Nelson Aguilar has averaged 6.4 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 3.2 pass targets per game. He's going to be about 29% owned, projected at 7.1 fantasy points here tonight. He's 5,000 DraftKings salary. And Nelson Aguilar has scored 4, 19, and 4 fantasy points in the last 3 games off of 3, 8, and 3 pass targets. So I like Nelson Aguilar here versus the Arizona Cardinals. Now there are 2 wide receivers that are low salary you want to keep your eye on here. The first one is Trey Thornton from the New England Patriots. He scored 5 fantasy points last game off of 3 pass targets. Going to be about 15% owned, and he is 1,400 DraftKings salary. So I like Tyquan Thornton as a low salary option here. The other low salary player you can consider is Greg Dortch from the Arizona Cardinals. He's averaging 7.4 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 3.6 pass targets per game. Now, although most of those were when DeAndre Hopkins was out, but Greg Dortch, he's going to be about 19% owned, and he scored 0 and 22 fantasy points in the last 2 games off of 0 and 10 pass targets. So he does have some pretty big upside. He's 2,200 DraftKings salary, so he's another low salary option. So I like Greg Dortch as a high risk, high reward option here versus the New England Patriots. You also have Robbie Anderson for 1,800, who got scored 3 fantasy points last game off of 3 pass targets. So Robbie Anderson only going to be about 4% owned. He is the true sleeper pick, the long shot player here. You also could consider AJ Green, but he's 5,200 DraftKings salary. AJ Green only got 2 pass targets last game. So if I'm going to go with a low salary option here for the Cardinals, probably looking at Robbie Anderson here versus the New England Patriots. Okay, moving on to the tight end position. I like Hunter Henry from the New England Patriots, and the Arizona Cardinals have the 2nd worst defense overall, and they give up the absolute most fantasy points to opposing tight ends. Hunter Henry has averaged 5.9 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 3.3 pass targets per game. He's been on the field for 77% of the snaps, going to be about 22% owned, projected at 7.9 fantasy points here tonight. He's 5,600 DraftKings salary, and Hunter Henry has scored 3, 15, and 3 fantasy points in the last 3 games off of 5, 5, and 1 pass target. So I like that he got 10 pass targets over the last 2 games. Should get a couple extra pass targets here tonight, and it's a fantastic matchup. So I think he would be my 2nd favorite pass catcher from the Patriots. So I like Hunter Henry here versus the Arizona Cardinals. Now you can also consider a guy like Janu or Trey McBride. Those are the other tight ends you got on this slate. Both of them going to be about 11 or 13% owned. Both around 24 to 3,000 salary. And both of these guys got about 2 or 3 pass targets last game. They both have good positional matchups. But I think if I'm going to play a tight end, it's going to be Hunter Henry. But if you do need to save some salary, you can take a look at Janu or Trey McBride.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smickety smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NFL slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.